What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of The 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best entertainment-related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. We've talked on the YouTube channel in the past, guys, quite a bit about Prototype and the future of this franchise, but we've also talked about the past, the present, and as I said, we've been talking more recently about the future of this franchise. You guys can check out all of that content here on the YouTube channel. And what I wanted to talk about in this first segment of the show, guys, is everything that we want out of Prototype 3, the unannounced project that we're hoping comes out at some point or another in the foreseeable future. And when I say we, guys, I'm mainly talking about myself here, and I'll give you guys my opinions on the things that I want to see out of Prototype 3. Some of you very well may agree with some of these, some of you may not. I would love to hear what you guys want to see in Prototype 3 in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So right off the bat, guys, I think it's really important that Prototype 3 goes back to kind of, you know, the follow-up to the first game, which obviously we've up to this point, we've had Prototype 1 and Prototype 2. I think it's important, though, that we go back to Alex Mercer's narrative and his story. I want to see the continuation of the story based upon Alex Mercer, and it's only because the second game I thought was a significant downgrade as far as, like, on a number of fronts, which we'll get to here, but I thought that the first game was great. I loved the way that the feeling of it. I thought that it kind of reminded me a little bit of Infamous, just, you know, different abilities and things of that nature. But Prototype, the first one, had some really special aspects to it. And what I loved about Alex Mercer's character was the mystery behind this guy. And so I think I would really like to see a continuation of his narrative moving forward. And that leads me into the next thing, guys, which is more things to do along the journey. Having more things that we can do along Prototype 3's campaign, whether that be that, you know, just being Alex Mercer as a normal civilian, being able to walk into stores and being able to do a multitude of different other side missions, which of course we've had in the first couple of games, guys, but I'd like to see an expansion upon that. More places that we're able to explore and such, and more things to do along the journey, that being like side missions. And that leads me to the next thing, which of course is going to be new characters, new environments, new enemies. And I think with that, guys, you know, I want some of the characters to be, some of them to be the same from the previous entries. I want some of them to be new characters as well. New enemies, but also having some existing ones from the previous games kind of leaves you with, you know, some familiarity to the franchise. And so I think that's really important moving into Prototype 3, where we have some locations that we're exploring that feel familiar, but also a bunch of locations that are different and kind of have some change, you know, have a little bit of some change to it. So I think having a little bit of both of those is really important moving into Prototype 3, especially when they're trying to kind of define this franchise that we haven't seen a continuation of in quite some time. The next thing, though, for me, guys, is with Prototype, you know, the question of, you know, whether or not they should somewhat do, you know, because we kind of alluded to Alex Mercer and kind of his continuation in the story. I'm wondering if doing like a soft reboot would be an interesting concept moving into the next generation of consoles, being the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. I think that with the updated graphics and things of that nature, you could do a soft reboot of Prototype if you decided to, moving into the next generation of consoles, because a lot of people may not have played the original two Prototype games. Many of us have, but some people that are just going to be buying the next generation hardware may never played the Prototype game, so it might be interesting to see a soft reboot done at the same time. Which leads me to the next thing, guys. Another thing that really brings people back to a franchise after the campaign is done is things outside of that, being multiplayer and co-op modes. And I think it's going to be really important, guys, that even if you had co-op where you had Alex Mercer as a playable character, but you also had characters from the second Prototype game that are playable characters within the co-op realm might be very interesting. And bringing in multiplayer, I think some multiplayer elements to this could be really interesting, whether that be PvE or PvP. PvP, where maybe you have something where you're going up against waves and waves of enemies that you can play with your friends with different abilities and such, and as each wave goes, you're kind of getting new abilities, or you can craft new abilities and upgrade and such. I think there's some really interesting concepts that could be explored there with multiplayer as well as co-op modes. And that leads me to the next thing, guys, which, kind of ends off the main things that I want, which we could go on and on about, many different things, I think, about this game, like the abilities, how we would love to see new abilities coming into Prototype 3, like some new abilities. Maybe Alex Mercer has evolved in other ways, or whatever it might be, guys. I think having new abilities and new ways that you can traverse the world around you, as well as yourself with customization and things of that nature, I think it would make it really special. But I think the main thing for me is having free-to-play elements to Prototype 3, like that being like multiplayer and co-op, having that as free-to-play where everyone may just at least try it out. We look at so many games that are AAA titles, guys, that are coming out now that have free-to-play aspects to them, like Call of Duty Warzone, which is free to play, and, a number of other games out there, right? And so I think Prototype could do really well if they've kind of promoted as such as it was, this game with all these abilities and such, and I think people would enjoy that. But in free-to-play, it would get more and more people to try it out, which could really ultimately grow the fan base and really maybe almost guarantee a continuation of the series moving forward. But those are the main things that I want to see, guys, in Prototype 3. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys want to see in Prototype 3? Let me know, guys. Let's have a real conversation about it. And for more Prototype 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. With Skate 4 being announced, guys, which I'm really excited about, even though it's not confirmed that it's called Skate 4, we're just going to go based on Skate 4, right? Whether it's going to be a Skate reboot or Skate 4, like a true sequel, we are kind of waiting to hear more information about that. But we're going to go saying, guys, that this is Skate 4, and I wanted to go ahead, and since this game got announced, I wanted to talk about everything that we know so far about the game, which, honestly, guys, it's not a ton of information that we know as of yet, because we really just got an announcement, of course, from the developers that this game is coming. We don't know a lot of other, specific details, but we can start giving our opinions and start putting a wish list together, obviously, for what we want out of Skate 4, and I want to get a real conversation going, guys, in the comment section down below about what we want to see in Skate 4. So let me know, guys, and let's get into this thing. So in an article that was written by Jordan Forward of PC Games, guys, everything that we know about Skate 4, the series is making a return after more than a decade spent laying dormant. Here are all the latest details. A decade is a very long time for an iconic game series to go completely silent. But in the 10 years since Skate 3 release, there's been almost no news about a sequel aside from rumors. The first Skate was among the most innovative skateboard games around it, and from its analog control scheme and grinding engine to its more realistic, less edgy representation of the skating scene. The development team behind Skate 3 was disbanded after the release of Skate 3 in 2010, but in the years since the series community has been consistently bombarding EA message boards with questions about the series and its potential return. That confirmation has finally arrived, with creative director Kuz Perry and game director Drain Chung announcing they are working on a new skate game during EA Play 2020. The pair didn't have much more than that to reveal. In fact, we're not even certain that the new game will be called Skate 4, but knowing it's officially in the works is enough for many. And look, I got to agree. Here's the deal, guys. The fact of the matter that they didn't say it was called Skate 4, but at least they said that they are working on a new skate game is at the very least, really exciting. Now, I believe, guys, that with EA Play 2020, they should have shown us like a logo, or they should have given us the official name of the game. They should have given us something. Now, maybe they did. Maybe they were almost speaking in code as they were like talking to us, stating that Skate is coming back. And maybe they gave us the title as they were speaking. We just kind of didn't even realize it. But it would have been nice to see kind of a logo at least, and not even, maybe even a tentative, release date, like it's coming in 2023. We don't know what, month it's going to be or something, but there's a tentative date. Even something like that would have been awesome, but I think they should have at least given us a logo. That would have been really nice. Now, when is Skate 4 coming out? There's absolutely no release window for Skate 4, and given it's not got an official name, imagery, or trailer yet, our guess is it's a few years away at least. As Coos Perry says in the announcement clip, we've got a long way to go, but we're stoked, and this is just the beginning. So, what I got to say about that is that even though it probably is a few years away, guys, it may even be further away than that. I would say, guys, that it almost seems to me that EA greenlit this project very recently. I mean, that's at least kind of from an outside perspective looking in. It seems to me that they had just probably announced Skate 4 or whatever the next Skate game is going to be, because Perry and Chung, as they were, sitting there, it was almost like they were just really excited that they were able to like kind of reveal that they were working on another Skate game. But it was like they had nothing to show. They had no, logo to show. They had nothing to show because they just got the green light that they could start working on this project. And so let's just say that they got the green light pretty recently. I would say that we're at least a few years away, at least 3, maybe even 4 years away, guys. It just really depends. I mean, maybe they did get the green light a year ago or something, but I feel like if they did, they would have shown us more. I mean, think of like Elder Scrolls 6, we at least got like a overshot of basically an entire landscape, and then Elder Scrolls 6 was, the official like logo for it or whatever was shown to us, and that was enough for us to basically get really excited that okay, Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out at at one date or another, but it's going to be years away, and that's what even the developer said. Now, it would have been nice if they could have done something here, but even the fact that they didn't even do something like that kind of leads me to believe that we're probably a ways off, guys. Is Skate 4 coming to PC? Seeing as the first 3 Skate games never arrived on PC, you may be wondering why we're covering this at all. The simple answer is that PC gaming is more popular than ever and is better served by AAA publishers than ever before. Whether this new Skate game is Skate 4, a series reboot, or something else entirely, EA has increased its efforts to bring games to PC platforms in recent years, and it's hard to see why one of their biggest series wouldn't make the leap. Now, one thing I'll say is, I would actually really like to see Skate 4 be like cross-play. It would be really awesome to have it where it's like it goes on PC and all the consoles and you can play with all your friends and such. That would be something I think would be really interesting for Skate, and Skate 4 in particular, moving into that game. I'm hoping they do that. More and more games are going cross-play, and I think that Skate 4 could do really well if they did something like that, especially kind of bringing the entire, skateboarding community together. I think that could be something really special. Now, what's the gameplay going to be like? Well, again, details are somewhere between scarce and non-existent on this one. But the interview with Jen Kim does provide a couple of clues. For starters, Perry and Chung affirm that Skate 4 is going to feel like a skate game. So if you're a fan of the series' control scheme and realistic physics, then this bodes well. Another aspect the duo touch on briefly is the community aspect of the Skate series. There are guys who do their own thing and make like Rube Goldberg machines within the game. We want to have fun with the community and give them a platform and let them do their own thing. It's like, hey, you could just go steal that wood and build your own spot, like a sandbox. And I hearing that is really interesting to me, guys. That gives you this idea that maybe we're going to be able to traverse the world in ways that we never were able to before. And so I really like the concept, almost like a sandbox and you're kind of building your own thing. I think that sounds really interesting. While we're not going to say Skate 4 will let you be as creative as some of the best sandbox games, it's an interesting comment and suggests that some of the map editing and creation tools of Skate 3 will be more heavily integrated into the game world of the new Skate game. So, with that, guys, I think that we can, it's safe to assume that with the Skate 4, this is going to be bigger and better than anything we've ever seen in the Skate series. From a, we're going to be saying, theoretically, we're hoping that it's going to have better gameplay. We're assuming it's absolutely going to have better graphics. I mean, from a graphics standpoint, you got to think it's going to have really good graphics on the next gen hardware, even if it doesn't come to PC. And we're assuming that it's going to have more mechanics, more, ways in which we can traverse the world, more ways in which that, different characters and, our skateboards, everything, the customization in this should be something really special moving into Skate 4. And obviously, once again, that's all speculation. But if, it's been this long since we got a skate game, you got to think that they've got some, really great ideas up their sleeve of what they can do moving into Skate 4. I just hope it's not ruined by a lot of microtransactions and things of that nature. As we get into the game, we know there's going to most likely be microtransactions. That's kind of how it is with every game. But one thing is, guys, is that what would kind of lay that all the rest would be if Skate 4 is a free-to-play game with microtransactions that you can buy and cosmetic items. That would be really an interesting concept as well. But nonetheless, guys, from what we know so far, guys, even though that we're probably pretty far off from this title coming out, it seems like it's going to be the most ambitious skate game in the franchise without a doubt, and I'm very excited about it, and I'll be excited to share more information with you guys as it comes out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Skate 4. What is it you guys want to see out of this game? Let me know. Let's have a real conversation about it, and for more Skate 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. The hype is building around Hyperscape, guys. This upcoming game from Prisma Dimensions, or, Ubisoft and Prisma Dimensions, that's going to be coming out. And I'm really excited, guys, to say the least about this game and learning more about it. Well, according to the official website, guys, from Prisma Dimensions, our world, your reality. And they welcome us to Prisma Dimensions, which is this brand, this new company. It seems like they might have been around for a little while, but I have never heard of Prisma Dimensions, guys, to say the least. And with that, their mission statement, here at Prisma, we build meaningful connections that span the globe and foster development. We build new frontiers that nurture, educate, and connect the population. We build technologies that push the limits of this world and offer an escape route to new dimensions, and we do this for you. Our mission is to provide you with unique opportunities to grow and prosper in today's hyper-connected world. A world with limitless opportunities, a world waiting for you to discover it. Let us take you there. So I love that mission statement. And then, guys, you get to enter the Hyperscape, which, what we've talked about with Hyperscape, guys, this, futuristic battle royale gaming coming from Ubisoft and Prisma Dimensions, which is going to most likely be Ubisoft's take at battle royale, obviously. And I think that from what I've heard so far about this game, I am incredibly excited about it. If it's going to feel like a true futuristic game. Now, I'm not saying that Apex Legends isn't, somewhat futuristic and, Call of Duty Warzone is more so modern. This feels like they're kind of taking us into a really futuristic world, and it's unlike anything that we've seen before in Battle Royale, at least as of now. Now, enter the Hyperscape, guys. Prisma Dimensions is thrilled to bring you the first iteration of the Hyperscape on July 2nd, and with it, the pulse-pounding action of Crown Rush. Get ready to drop into the neon-drenched streets of the world's premier virtual city, Neo Arcadia. You'll want to hit the ground running, as you'll need every advantage you can find to give yourself a leg up on the competition. Only the best contenders will make it to the final showdown. Will you claim victory or fall to the perils of the Hyperscape? Which is interesting. Very interesting, guys. Just kind of, looking at that. Obviously, we're talking about a battle royale here. Now, the final showdown, which is kind of an interesting, they speaking on behalf of the best contenders, only the best are going to make it to the final showdown. That's an interesting thing, and I wonder what they're exactly getting at. What I will say is, the pulse-pounding action of Crown Rush. So, this is what I was getting at, guys, and I've talked about, Hyperscape on the YouTube channel so far. You guys can check out all that content. But what I will say is that Hyperscape is this game that seems like it may very well launch with other game modes, and there's been rumor and rumblings that this is going to happen outside of just Battle Royale, where you're going to also be able to play other game modes on other maps instead of just the Battle Royale, and you can choose to do so if you like. But Crown Rush, I'm wondering if that's a game mode within the Battle Royale or if this is a game mode outside of the Battle Royale altogether. you can see, guys, there's an image that came out from Prisma Dimensions that says B-Link 2.0 Founders Edition. So what I'm wondering is if they're going to sell copies of Hyperscape, even though it's free to play, they're going to sell copies that you can get that are going to be like Founders Editions or something, where you're going to have access to, who knows, everything. If they have a battle pass, whatever it is that they decide to do, you'll be able to get all kinds of access to all kinds of, cool other content outside of just the Battle Royale. It'll be something interesting, guys, to say the least. But from what we've know so far about Hyperscape, I'm very excited about this. And I'm excited to, find out more about it. Prisma Dimensions, this company that was most likely kind of formed from Ubisoft. We'll have to kind of get more information about them as time goes on here, but I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to see what their take is, that being Ubisoft's take on Battle Royale. And we've talked about how Hyperscape, we believe, is going to be one of the next big BR titles out there, because Ubisoft, who's another AAA developer, making this game, could this be something really big? And I think it could be. I think that it's not going to, it's hard to say whether it's going to be an absolute juggernaut of a BR like Call of Duty Warzone, or if it's going to be of the same status as like Apex Legends. It's hard to say where it's going to be, guys. All we do know is that Battle Royale as a whole is growing in a major way, and Hyperscape and Ubisoft have a real opportunity here to take, this Battle Royale, create other modes outside of the Battle Royale at the very beginning with other maps and modes and such that can keep you playing the game even outside of the Battle Royale realm. That would be something really interesting, to say the least. And I want to hear from all of you guys. What do you guys think about that in the comment section down below? Let me know, guys. What do you guys think about Hyperscape so far? What you've heard so far? Let me know, guys. And for more Hyperscape content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Marvel's Spider-Man, guys, was an incredible experience in my opinion. There's certainly things that I love, things I didn't like so much, and things that I would love to see different moving forward in Spider-Man Miles Morales. And with that, guys, I want to give you the top 5 things we want in Spider-Man Miles Morales. And when I say we, guys, I'm talking, mainly my opinions here, but some of you may agree, some of you may disagree. I want to know, though, in the comment section down below what your top 5 things that you want to see in the upcoming Spider-Man game. So with that, guys, let's get into it. So, guys, look, Miles Morales, after seeing the announcement trailer and all of that, I'm incredibly excited about it, to say the least. And there's a number of things we could probably talk ad nauseum about, all the different things that we would love to see out of this, this continuation of Spider-Man in, video games. And with that, though, and number one for me, guys, is I want to see a longer campaign. And I know that there's been talks and rumblings that the campaign is actually not going to be that long at all in Spider-Man Miles Morales. And I think that would be an absolute travesty, in my opinion, just because if it's going to be like a 6-7 hour campaign, and there's potentially nothing else to do outside of that, the campaign and maybe some side missions, I just really want to see a longer campaign than what's being reported. I also want to see a longer campaign than that of the first Spider-Man. Because one thing, guys, that we can probably all agree on is that after you beat the Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man game, it was always fun just to kind of sling around the city and, do some side missions and things of that nature. But after a while, it starts to kind of get stale, right? And most of us would probably just move on to another game if there's nothing else to do. And so I think having a longer campaign keeps us playing the game, and that kind of leads me into number 2, guys. Whereas with number 2, having more things to do along the journey, having more side missions, having more, different things that we can do, where you aren't playing as the web slinger, you can just walk the streets and you are able to kind of walk into stores and just do all kinds of different things, guys. I think having an even more open world experience would be absolutely awesome. And having more side missions and things to do after you beat the game one time or even a couple of times through, you have just more things to do, like I said, along the journey of this upcoming title. And that leads me to number 3, guys, which is multiplayer and co-op. one big way, guys, that you can, brings people back to a series or to a game in particular is multiplayer experiences. Having multiplayer where you get to play with your friends, or you get to play co-op together with your friends, or even just other people out there in the world who love Spider-Man as well. And I think it's really important that they have this, especially if it's going to be a 7-hour campaign. And you're probably going to try to justify, they will most likely try to justify a $60 price tag for a 7-hour campaign, and we're not getting anything else outside of that, which we don't know that at this point. But I'm saying if they did state that it was only going to be a campaign and some side missions, and it's only going to be 7 hours, that does not justify a $60 price tag in my personal opinion. I think that they need to be having other ways in which we can not only connect with the universe and connect with this world that they're building, but I just don't think it makes much sense for a developer to just do the campaign if we're just going to leave that, after beating the campaign a couple of times through, leave and play other games. Don't you want to have everyone play your game for a significant amount of time, and I'm talking come back over and over again? Multiplayer and co-op absolutely would do that for this game. And that leads me, guys, into number 4, which is getting back to the story, guys. I would love to see Peter Parker be a playable character. I can't wait to learn more about Miles Morales, but I think it'd be awesome, especially if there were co-op experiences, especially if there were, throughout the course of the story, if having Peter Parker within the story, that, the two of these characters come together and obviously, are, whether, Peter Parker's a playable character or if he's playable through multiplayer or whatever the case might be, guys, I would love to see Peter Parker come back into the story in one way, shape, or form. And I think that he should have a role here. I really do. I feel that he needs to have a role as well as Miles Morales. Sure, I think it's awesome that they're going to have Miles as the guy, right? The web slinger here. And I just love that concept because we know so much about Peter Parker already, whether it's the comics, the movies, whatever it might be. Miles, we don't know as much about, and that's why, at least for me, I don't know much about him at all, and so that's why I'm so excited to really learn more about Miles in particular. But I also want to see, a Peter Parker in this story as well in one way, shape, or form. And that leads me, guys, to number 5, which I think is really important. This gets to kind of the mechanics of the game and even things right outside of that, is having new moves. New moves, obviously, guys, that, Spidey's able to do, and having different new weapons that are at your disposal, having new enemies you're going up against, new environments, which obviously, guys, I think having new environments, new locations throughout the course of the campaign is really important as well. But having some existing characters like Peter Parker, having some new characters altogether, new enemies, new villains, but even having some existing ones so things feel familiar to us within the course of the story. And that leads, to the locations as well. Having locations that you can explore, new places to explore, which I'm sure they're of course going to do, guys. But that makes it really exciting, would be really exciting to me to have some familiarity, but also having some significant differences. Taking some risks along the way might not be a bad idea either, whether that's with some of the moves, whether that's with some of the new enemies, whatever it might be, guys. I think that they have something special here. There's the groundwork for something that could be really special with Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I'm excited to explore that. I'm just hoping that it's a full package. I hope it's not just a 7-hour campaign, and then after you're done, you can sling around the city, do a couple of side missions, and then you end up moving on to another game. I really want there to be more to do here, that after we're done with the campaign, playing it a couple of times through, we can play multiplayer. We can do those things with our friends in co-op or whatever it might be, Spider-Man Online or whatever it is, guys. I just want more ways that we can continue connecting with this franchise. But with that, guys, I'm going to pass it on to all of you. What are the top 5 things that you guys want in Spider-Man Miles Morales? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Spider-Man Miles Morales content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.